Welcome to Terran Tales, where stories of love, loss, betrayal, and redemption come to life. Every tale carries a twist, and every twist leaves a lesson. Sit back and dive into the stories that hit where it hurts and heal where it matters. Mark to see if he will bite. He doesn't. Kayla jumps in with a story about a silly movie. Everyone laughs. The heat drops by a few degrees. Later that night, Kayla's phone lights up. The friend from across the table. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Kayla types. Yes, keep your screenshots. Say nothing yet. Rain at the window. Kayla lies on her bed and scrolls old photos of the three of them at a lake. They look young and simple. She types a message to Mark. You don't deserve this. She deletes it, types it again, deletes it again. She saves it in drafts. Lightning flickers. Her mind is clear now. She knows what she feels. She knows what is right. The phone pings. It's Jenna. Love you, sis. If he asks about Saturday, cover for me? Kayla stares at the message. She types back. No. Don't ask me again. Three dots appear, then vanish. No reply. Morning light in Mark's kitchen. He trims basil and puts the stems in a glass of water. A knock at the door. Kayla stands there with a small bag of lemons. They trade a recipe. No hug, no confession, just steady care. Cut it back before it flowers, she says. I will, he says. On the counter, a phone lights up. It is Jenna's. The preview reads, Same time? Kayla sees it. Her breath stays even. A plan starts to take shape in her mind. Quiet, careful, honest. The light on the phone goes dark. The moment holds steady. The line is drawn. Kayla wakes before her alarm. Rain has washed the streets clean. The world looks honest when it's wet. She makes tea and sits at her kitchen table with a yellow legal pad. She writes the date at the top. Then she writes 3 words. Tell the truth. Her pen leaves a small blot of ink after the last letter. She leaves it there. A mark is still a mark. At lunch, she meets Jenna at a sandwich place near their offices. Bright lights, the smell of toasted bread. Jenna talks fast about her boss, about a client who wants too much for too little money. She keeps her phone on the table, screen up, as if to prove something. It buzzes once. A message preview slides across and disappears. The contact is an emoji again. Kayla looks at Jenna's hands. The ring is on. The skin is still lighter underneath. Girls' night Friday? Jenna asks, chewing. Thinking spa, wine, then maybe stay over at Tara's. You in? She says it in a friendly tone, like an invitation. It feels like a test you are supposed to fail. I'm out, Kayla says. Busy. She takes a sip of water. Don't use me as cover. Jenna blinks like she didn't hear right. I wouldn't, she says. That was just, back in the day. I remember, Kayla says. Her voice is even. Don't ask again. They eat in silence for a minute. The server brings the check. Jenna reaches for it and then pulls her hand back, letting Kayla cover. It is a small thing. It is not small. Back at work, Kayla opens a blank note on her computer. She types, timeline, and starts listing days she remembers. Not every day, just the ones that stand out. She adds what she knows. Places, times, small objects. Last Tuesday, wrong brunch bill showed 2 entrees, 1 bottle of wine. Timestamp, 8:34 p.m. Thursday night, gym lot, rideshare drop 2 blocks away, hair messy, crop spin photo, no timestamp. Saturday market, Mark almost asked, didn't. Contact on Jenna's lock screen saved as emoji at dinner. Later. Other. Hotel keycard with gold logo on entry table during game night. She stops and breathes. She adds a line at the top. Facts only. If she cannot prove it, she doesn't write it. She sends a short text to a friend who was at the patio dinner. Can you save any photos you took that show phones on the table? Don't share. Just save. The reply comes fast. Saved. Also, saw the emoji contact twice. Noted. After work, Kayla walks home the long way. The sidewalks are drying in patches. She passes the small hotel with the gold logo like the key card she saw. The front awning flaps once in the breeze. She goes inside and asks for a business card. The clerk smiles and hands her one. "We host a lot of corporate mixers," he says. She smiles back and leaves. She takes a photo of the awning from across the street with the date and time in the corner. She adds it to her folder. Her folder lives in a simple place. A cloud drive with a boring name. Year Receipts. Inside, she makes 3 subfolders. Before open, after open, miscellaneous. She adds the awning photo to miscellaneous. She writes a small note under it. Matches keycard logo seen at Mark's. That night, Jenna texts a photo of a face mask and a glass of wine. Caption, Spa Night Trial Run. Kayla looks at the photo. The wine is a brand she has only seen in one place, a bar near the Hillcrest Lodge. She remembers the bottle's tall neck and the pale label with a blue line. She searches the bar's Instagram, scrolls, finds a photo from last week, same bottle on the shelf. She takes a screenshot. She saves it. She does not reply. In the morning, Kayla meets Mark for coffee. He looks tired around the eyes. He hides it well. He thanks her for the lemons. He says the basil is thriving. When he reaches for his cup, his sleeve pulls back. There is a small paper cut on his wrist from a manila folder. He notices her looking and laughs. "I did a little filing last night," he says, "trying to get my house in order." Kayla says, "Good." She almost says, "You'll need it." She does not. "Tell me when you want me to listen," she says instead. He holds her gaze a second longer than he should. He nods. "Not yet," he says. His voice is steady. It makes her proud and sad at the same time. On Thursday, Kayla stops by Jenna's place to drop off a sweater. The apartment smells like new perfume. A stack of mail sits on the console table. On top, an invitation to a charity gala. The date is Friday. The time is 7 p.m. The dress code says formal. Jenna had told Mark, "Girls' night," that same date. Kayla takes a photo of the envelope front and back. She places it back exactly as it was. In the bathroom trash, she sees a paper wristband torn in half. The print reads, "Hill C. The rest is gone." Her pulse kicks once. She leaves the bathroom as it was. She does not touch anything else. On Friday, Kayla gets a text from an unknown number. It includes a screenshot. It's from the friend at the patio dinner. The screenshot shows Jenna's phone face up next to a plate. The lock screen is lit. A message preview reads, "Room's ready, same floor, same time." The timestamp is 6:52 p.m. The friend writes, "Thought you should have this. I'll delete after." Kayla replies, "Keep it. Don't talk. Thank you." She copies the image to her folder. She adds a note. Matches emoji contact behavior. Pre-gala timing. At 7:10 p.m., Kayla stands on the sidewalk outside the gala venue. She keeps a distance. Couples in suits and dresses walk in. The rain is gone. The air smells like wet stone. She sees Jenna arrive in a red dress, alone. Kayla notes the time. She notes the way Jenna looks at her phone before entering. She takes one photo from the other side of the street. It is wide and blurry. She does not need faces. She needs the clock on the venue sign in the frame and the date on the marquee. Both are visible. At 9:03 p.m., Kayla walks past the Hillcrest Lodge. She doesn't go in. She doesn't need to. She stands across the street and notes the arrival of a rideshare. A woman in a red dress steps out and goes inside. Kayla looks at the time again. She writes it down on a small card in her pocket. 9:03. She doesn't take a picture of the woman. She takes a picture of the lobby clock through the glass and the lobby flower arrangement that changes daily with a small placard showing the date. Then she leaves. At home, she pulls the slim black phone from her drawer, the one she found in Jenna's kitchen months ago, the night she fed the dog and watered a plant while Jenna was running late. She hasn't turned it on since. It belongs to no plan and no name. It was tucked under a stack of cookbooks. She hadn't told anyone. She presses the power button now. The screen lights up. A lock code waits. She tries a guess. Jenna's birthday. It opens. Her stomach drops. She turns it off, then on again to be sure it wasn't a fluke. It opens a second time. Her hands shake a little. She does not read messages. Not yet. She takes a single photo of the home screen with the date and time. She powers the phone down. She places it in a box with a note. Found at Jenna's. Date, time, location. She seals the box with tape and writes her initials over the seam. She is thinking like a witness now, not a friend. A knock sounds at her door. It is Mark. No text first. He looks like sleep didn't visit him. He holds a manila folder. He doesn't step inside. He says, "I think I need to talk." His voice is quiet and flat, the kind of voice a person uses when the ground feels thin. Kayla opens the door wider. "I'll listen," she says. She moves the kettle onto the stove. The flame lights with a soft click. He sets the folder on the table and doesn't open it. He looks at her like he is asking permission to survive. She nods once. "I need to know what you know," he says, "and I need you to tell me if I'm crazy." "You're not," she says. He exhales. The kettle begins to hum. She pulls out her yellow legal pad. The words at the top are still there. "Tell the truth." She sets it between them. "Start," she says. He opens the folder. The first page is a timeline. The second is a copy of a receipt. The third is a photo of a hotel key card. He pauses, then looks up at her. His eyes are clear. "Kayla," he says, "I think she was cheating before the rules." Kayla holds his gaze. "I know," she says, "and I can prove it." They sit at Kayla's kitchen table. Steam rises from 2 mugs. The manila folder lies between them. Kayla opens her cloud drive on her laptop. The boring folder name sits at the top. Year_receipts. She clicks. "Facts only," she says. "Dates, times, places, no guesses." Mark nods. "Facts," he says. His hands are steady now, his voice too. Kayla pulls out the yellow legal pad. She writes the date and time of the meeting. She writes who is in the room. She signs her initials at the bottom of the page. She slides the pad where he can see it. He breathes out like the air is finally moving. She starts with the oldest proof. "Before the open talk," she says, "Hillcrest Lodge. A year and a half ago." She places a printout of the receipt on the table. It shows check-in at 8:42 p.m., check-out at 9:12 a.m., 2 guests, Jenna's signature, joint card. She lays a photo next to it. The hotel awning with the logo, dated and time-stamped from this week. Same place, same logo. Mark nods once. "I found that receipt too," he says. "In our tax folder." He adds his copy to the table. 2 copies sit side by side. The paper looks heavier when there are 2. Kayla moves to recent proof. "After the open talk," she says. She shows a phone photo from their patio dinner. It isn't a face. It's the table, the lock screen, the message preview. "Rooms ready, same floor, same time. Timestamp 6:52 p.m. Friday." She places a wide, blurry photo of the gala entrance next to it. The venue clock shows 7:05 p.m. The marquee shows the date. "She arrived alone," Kayla says. "Check the phone before going in." Then she places a photo of the Hillcrest lobby clock taken through the glass. It shows 9:03 p.m. The date placard sits next to a flower arrangement. "Red dress went in," she says. "I didn't shoot her back." "I shot the clock and date." Mark stares at the sequence. He traces the line with his finger. 6:52, 7:05, 9:03. His mouth is a hard line. "Rules said no friends or family. Rules said transparency," he says. "She gave me girls' night. She gave me nothing about the gala." Kayla opens a small box and sets it on the table. Tape over the seam, her initials across the tape. She breaks the seal. Inside is the slim black phone. "Found months ago in her kitchen," she says, "under cookbooks. I turned it on once to see if it worked. Lock code was her birthday. I did not read messages." She sets her own phone next to it and shows a single photo of the burner's home screen with date and time. "Documented." Mark looks up. "We can use this?" he asks. "Only if needed," Kayla says, "but its existence matters. We can also show when and where it was found. I wrote it down the day I found it. She scrolls through the folder and shows smaller things that add up. A screenshot of Jenna's face mask and wine photo. The wine label matches the bar near Hillcrest. The bar's Instagram confirms the bottle on the shelf that week. A photo of the charity gala envelope on Jenna's console table, front and back. Date and time clear. A torn wristband from a bathroom trash can. Letters, Hilt C, visible. Date of the trash pickup noted from building schedule. Mark adds his own items from his folder. The open relationship template dated 2 months before the dinner pitch. A calendar note in Jenna's phone he photographed once, titled Yoga, with a pin dropped near a hotel, not a studio. A bank statement showing small charges at the hotel bar on nights listed as girls' nights. They stacked them in order: before, after, during. The pattern is simple now. It is also undeniable. Mark sits back. He isn't shaking. He isn't raging. He looks like someone who has been carrying a heavy box and has finally set it down. "Thank you," he says. "It is quiet. It is full." Kayla nods. "Next step is to protect you," she says. "No fights. No hints. Just a clean timeline and a calm face. We get a consult. We keep copies. We keep originals safe." He looks at the papers again. "We?" he asks. "We," she says. "I'll give a sworn statement. I'll list what I saw, when I saw it, and how I knew it was true. No opinions, just facts." He takes a breath, then another. He closes the folder, aligns the edges, and stands. "I'll make the call," he says. "Today." At the door he stops. "Kayla," he says, "why did you keep this so clean?" "Because the truth is messy enough," she says. "It doesn't need help." He nods and leaves. The kettle ticks as it cools. Kayla sits at the table for a minute more. She writes one more line on the legal pad. "Copies delivered to Mark, date and time." She signs again. Her phone buzzes on the table. "Jenna, brunch Sunday? Need my girl." Kayla looks at the message for a long second. She turns the phone face down. Then she opens her laptop and starts a new document. Title, statement. First line. "My name is Kayla Hart, and this is what I saw. I didn't shout. I didn't throw anything. I didn't even cry. I made lists. On Sunday morning, I opened a new notebook and wrote the date at the top. Under it, I drew a neat line and wrote, timeline. Then I poured coffee and started filling in the blanks. The Hillcrest Lodge receipt, the e-texts, the crushed open relationship agreement dated 2 months ago. The nights labeled yoga that didn't match her studio schedule. The girls' nights that grew like ivy, wrapping around our calendar until I couldn't see the bricks anymore. I wrote times, names, places, exact words. I printed my phone backups and stapled them onto the pages. Every entry had a number. Jenna asked if I wanted pancakes. I said yes. We ate like a normal couple on a normal weekend. She told me about a coworker's baby shower. I nodded and smiled. When she left to run errands, I opened a new folder on my laptop labeled House. Inside it, I created subfolders: bank, phone, calendar, photos. I downloaded statements, sorted them, color-coded them. Joint accounts green, her accounts yellow, my accounts blue. I wasn't hiding, I was arranging. At lunch, I texted Kayla, "Can we talk?" Not over text. She called me from her car. The sound of her turn signal clicked softly between us. "I can meet you in an hour," she said. "Public place. Bring nothing you don't want seen." We sat outside at a cafe, sunglasses on, sun shifting through the leaves. She slid her tote onto the chair beside her and didn't touch it. "You okay?" she asked. "I'm building," I said. "A fortress." Her mouth twitched, sad, proud. "Good. You're doing the right thing." I told her what I had, the receipt, the second phone, the messages. I didn't embellish. I just listed, the way a person lists ingredients on a label. She listened, patient, eyes steady. When I finished, she took a breath and reached into her tote. She placed a slim binder on the table. White, unmarked, clean. I organized it, she said softly. Dates, texts, screenshots, locations. I highlighted overlaps with your notes from last week, the ones you sent me. I also wrote a statement. I kept it factual. No opinions, no assumptions. Just what I saw and what I covered for. Her fingers brushed the edge. I'm done covering. I opened it. Tabs, color-coded, time-stamped photos clipped to printed messages. A map with tiny pins marking hotels and bars, each labeled. A spreadsheet page with columns. Date, time, location, source, notes. It was surgical. You could be a lawyer, I said. She shook her head. Just someone who's tired of lies. We talked next steps. No confrontation without preparation. No surprise speeches. No shouting matches that turned facts into fog. I told her I had a consult with a family attorney on Tuesday afternoon. She nodded like she'd already penciled it into her mind. Separate your accounts today, she said. Not to hide, to prevent surprises. Freeze the joint card if you have to. Capture everything. Don't lock her out. Just stop bleeding. I went home and opened the banking app. I split my direct deposit. I changed the passwords that were mine to change. I printed statements from the last 2 years and slipped them into a new binder labeled Financial. I called the phone carrier and asked for detailed logs. The representative confirmed I could request them by mail. I requested them. Jenna came home with grocery bags and a bright voice. I got that yogurt you like, she said. We cooked together, side by side, our sleeves brushing. I asked about her day. She told me about traffic. We laughed about the neighbor's new lawn ornaments. Later, in the quiet, I scanned the binders into a cloud folder. I named it with something boring, Taxes 2021. I shared it with an email address I had created that morning, one only I knew. I set up a second share link and sent it to Kayla, who replied with a single checkmark emoji. Then, got you. I wrote a statement of my own, not a love letter, not a rant, just facts. On date, found receipt. On date, discovered second phone. On date, agreed to open marriage with rules documented here. I attached the PDF of our rule sheet, the one we had actually typed and signed, full of promises about transparency and no friends or family. I circled the clause that would matter most. No friends, no family, no exceptions. When I finished, I looked around our living room. The couch we picked out after 3 stores, the lamp her aunt gave us, the plant I kept alive for 2 years. Everything was still. The fortress wasn't a wall to hide behind. It was a way to move without noise. I texted Jenna, family dinner this Friday? It's been a while. She replied with a heart and a yes. I added it to the calendar and shared it with her. Kayla texted me after midnight. I'll be there, in the back, not in the way. I put the binders in a plain box under the bed. I placed the second phone in a zip bag with a note. Do not touch, chain of custody. I was careful now. Everything had to be clean. Before sleep, I walked the dog. The night air felt thin and sharp. The streetlights hummed. I counted my steps to keep my mind steady. When I came back, my phone buzzed with a blocked number. A voicemail, no words, just the sound of a door closing, and then a low voice I couldn't place. Same plan as last time. On Tuesday, I sat in the attorney's office while she read the binder in silence. She finally looked up and said, "We can file on adultery predating any agreement." Then she slid a printed email across the desk. Subpoena template, ready to send to Hillcrest Lodge. At the bottom, under opposing parties known associates, there was a name I hadn't said out loud yet. E. Full name printed clearly. I chose calm on purpose. No text fights, no cornering her after work. Just a table, a time, and witnesses who loved us both. Friday came with clear skies and a hollow in my chest. I set the dining table early. Simple plates, water glasses, nothing fancy. I placed a plain manila folder at my seat. Inside, the timeline, the rule sheet we both signed, the hotel receipt copies, phone logs, screenshots, and Kayla's sworn statement. I put a second folder beside it, identical, sealed, addressed to my attorney, insurance. Your parents at 6? Jenna called from the bedroom, curling her hair. Her tone was light, practiced. 6, I said. I'll pick up dessert. At 5:30, I stepped outside and breathed. Kayla texted, I'm parked down the block. I'll come in when you start. Not to pile on, to corroborate. I replied, thank you. Guests arrived in warm waves. My mother hugged me too long. Jenna's dad made a joke about parking. We ate takeout lasagna and salad. Small talk stacked like cards. I watched Jenna pour wine and wondered how long she'd been practicing her smile. When the plates were cleared and the conversation drifted, I tapped my folder once, twice, then stood. I need to share something important, I said. My voice sounded even. I want to be careful and factual. Chairs creaked. Jenna's eyes flicked to the folder, then to me. Mark? She laughed a little. What's this? I opened the folder and took out the first page, the signed rule sheet. A few months ago, I began, we agreed to try an open marriage with clear boundaries. We promised transparency, protection, and, this is crucial, no friends or family. We both signed this. I laid the paper in the middle of the table. No one reached for it. I placed the second page, the timeline, neat dates, times, locations. What are you doing? Jenna asked, her smile tightening. Not now. This is, I continued steady. Before we made that agreement, there was already an affair. This is a hotel receipt from a year and a half ago. Hillcrest Lodge, Jenna's signature. 2 guests, Jenna exhaled hard. You're twisting. I held up a hand. I'm not accusing without proof. I'm presenting facts. I set down screenshots, messages with E, time-stamped photos, the second phone logs. After we set rules, multiple violations occurred. Overlaps with our social circle, deception about locations. The rule that mattered most, no friends or family, was broken. Stop, she said, her voice cracked. You don't understand the context. Then explain the context, I said calmly. Explain why there's a second phone. Explain the nights marked yoga that don't match the studio's schedule. Explain E. She stood, jaw tight. This is a trap. You've been spying. I've been documenting, I said, because honesty matters. Kayla knocked softly and stepped in. She didn't look at Jenna first. She looked at me, then at our families. I'm here because I covered for her once, she said, voice low but clear. I shouldn't have. I've written a factual statement about what I saw and when. I'm sorry. Jenna's mother pressed a hand to her mouth. My father leaned back, eyes on the table. The room felt like glass, thin, fragile, reflecting everything. Jenna's composure shattered. You like this, don't you? She snapped at Kayla. You've been circling him for months. Kayla shook her head. I've been circling the truth. I slid the last page forward. My attorney's brief note. Based on the evidence we'll be filing, citing adultery, predating any agreement, I said. I wanted the families to hear it with witnesses present and without shouting. I won't tolerate lies anymore. Jenna's eyes filled. Anger, grief, something else. So that's it. You present your little case, and I'm just, what, guilty? I kept my voice gentle. If there's a fact here that is wrong, say it. I will remove it. If there's context that changes a date, offer it. But if the facts are accurate, then the choice is simple, and it's already made. Silence stretched. She looked at the papers like they might rearrange themselves if she glared hard enough. Then her shoulders slumped. I didn't want to lose you, she whispered. I thought if we made it open, it wouldn't be cheating anymore. My mother's eyes closed. Kayla's hands were still. You started before we agreed, I said, and you broke the clearest rule after we did. I nodded toward the door. I've arranged for a hotel for you tonight. Not Hillcrest. Separate spaces while we sort next steps. The attorney will contact you Monday. Jenna wiped her face. For a moment, a softer version of her blinked through. The one who laughed at dumb shows and stole my fries. Then she straightened, gathered her bag, and left without another word. The door shut with a polite click that felt like a slam. I turned to our families. I'm not looking for sides. I'm looking for peace. We'll handle the legal part. Please don't feed rumors. If anyone asks, say we're separating and we're being respectful. Kayla stayed behind to help stack plates. We didn't talk. We didn't touch. When the house finally emptied, she set a small, steadying hand on the folder and nodded once, like a promise. Monday morning, my attorney called. Hillcrest responded to the subpoena, she said, and there's a surprise. E reserved a second room on 2 other dates, under a different name you'll recognize. She paused. Brace yourself. The surprise landed like a slow echo. E had used a different name on 2 other dates, an alias tied to a coworker Jenna had mentioned in passing, the one who helped with late decks. The pattern wasn't a slip. It was a system. My attorney's voice stayed even. It strengthens your case, she said. It also means the circle is wider than you thought. Stay measured. Measured became my daily word. I filed. Service was arranged. Papers moved like weather, inevitable, impersonal, arriving whether you hid or stood outside and faced the rain. I chose to face it. The fallout, when it came, wasn't a fireball. It was whispered networks and unreadable emojis. Friends texted, "Are you okay?" and then didn't know what to do with my calm yes. Her mother called me and cried, soft, exhausted tears that sounded older than both of us. "I'm sorry," she said. "I don't know how to help her." I told her to love her daughter and to let the facts stand without dressing them up. Jenna sent 3 messages in the first week. The first was an apology that read like an essay with no thesis. The second was anger, sharp, defensive, a list of my supposed failures that didn't touch the dates or the names. The third was smaller. I hate sleeping alone. I didn't respond to the first 2. To the third I typed, "We made separate spaces for a reason. Please work with your attorney." Then I put my phone face down and stepped away. Kayla kept her distance on purpose. She texted logistics, check-ins with the attorney, drop-offs for keys, a note when she updated the shared folder with another time-stamped cross-reference. She didn't ask me how I felt because she could read it well enough. Tired, relieved, a little stunned by how quiet the house could be without the constant hum of suspicion. On a Tuesday evening, I boxed the last of Jenna's things that she'd asked for through counsel. Shoes, framed photos, the mug with a chipped rim she insisted made coffee taste better. I labeled the box with her name and set it by the door. The ring-shaped indent her plant left on the shelf looked like a watermark. I wiped it with a cloth and let the wood dry. The papers were signed in a small office that smelled like toner and lemon cleaner. We sat apart, attorneys between us. She looked pretty in a way that made my chest ache, not because I wanted her back, but because memory has a kind of echo that doesn't care about facts. She kept her eyes on the table. When it was my turn, my pen didn't shake. When it was hers, she hesitated a beat, then wrote with a steady hand. Adultery, predating any agreement, read the line that mattered. We didn't hug, we didn't linger. We left as 2 quiet people who had finally stopped digging. After, I took 2 days off and drove to the coast. No playlist, just road and white lines and a bag with too many socks. I walked the shoreline until the sun slid down and the sky bruised purple. I breathed air that didn't feel borrowed. I slept 10 hours without waking to phantom buzzes or the click of a drawer in my head. When I got back, there was a small envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Inside, the spare black phone. A sticky note on it, for closure. The lock screen was off. The messages were old, already preserved in our binders. I placed the phone in a drawer and shut it. Closure wasn't a device. It was a choice made daily, like drinking water. Weeks layered. People adjusted. Mutual friends split along invisible lines, most choosing silence. The dog learned our new routine and settled at my feet when I worked late. I cooked too much pasta and ate it out of the pot like a teenager. It felt good to be a little unpolished. No performance. Just the sound of a fork, honest metal on honest plate. Kayla and I did not rush. We didn't even tiptoe. We paused. She came by once to drop off a binder I didn't strictly need anymore. We stood by the door, the light thin and bright. "How's your fortress?" she asked. "Smaller," I said. "More like a good fence." She smiled at that. "Fences have gates." "I know," I said. "I'm learning how to use them." We went for coffee on a Sunday. No hidden corners, no sunglasses. We talked about boring things on purpose. Books, a neighbor's impossible hydrangeas, whether dogs dream. We didn't mention Jenna until the second cup, and even then, only to say a truth out loud. "I cared about both of you," she said. "That made it complicated." "I know," I said. "That also made you careful." When we finally touched, just fingers on the table, light as a note, the moment didn't spark like a match. It warmed like sunlight, slow, honest, nothing to hide and no one to perform for. We agreed on rules we didn't need to write down: radical transparency, patience, no stepping on shadows. The peace wasn't dramatic. It didn't announce itself. It accumulated. In the ease of my shoulders, in the way I slept, in the quiet joy of making coffee while the dog thumped his tail. I wasn't the hero of a revenge story. I was a man who chose to stop living in doubt. People asked what I learned. I kept my answer simple. Don't argue with facts. Don't rush to fill silence with noise. And if you build a fortress, build it to walk through, not to live in forever. Months later, an email pinged from a name I recognized too well. E, using a work address. The subject line was one word. Meeting? I stared at it, then clicked archive. Some doors once closed stay closed. Some bridges don't need rebuilding. The peace was earned. I wasn't trading it. Thanks for watching Terran Tales. If this story moved you, remember to like, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more. Your next unforgettable tale is just one click away.